Keep Walters in mind if you're looking for a place to book a private event in DC. Visit waltersdc.com/private events for more information.
I'm excited to tell you about the designs Homage has cooked up for the 2025 MLB season. If you're as baseball obsessed as I am, you'll love the full roster of major league looks from Homage. Amazing comfort and deep cut designs that help fans show off passion for their favorite teams. Homage has a massive selection that tells the story of the greatest sport from its very beginnings. Deep logo history, coast-to-coast stadium tours, and the biggest players from every era. Legends never die at Homage. If you need your new shirt for going to a ball game, Homage has you covered with its most comfortable fan clothing, and it's available for fans of all ages. This year's collection hits dinger after dinger after tater after tater. Fleece, tees, bottoms, and more. And don't forget to check out the new starter jacket lineup, an iconic dugout look you don't want to miss. Heroes get remembered, but legends never die, and these looks go long, period. Check out the Homage MLB collection to find your team's coolest gear.
Brings up Keibert Ruiz, who is single to center, grounded to the second baseman, and hits a ground ball, gets through the glove of Harper and down the right field line. Rounding second, heading for third is Lowe. The ball away into the corner. He's being waved around. Lowe coming to the plate, heading for third is Ruiz, and he's in there safely. And the Nationals have the lead here in the sixth inning by the score of 2-1. Here's the pitch, runner going, pitch outside high, throw down, one hop through Turner, and breaking for the plate and scoring is Garcia. And into second is Cruz. Even though the throw skipped under Turner, runner from third was breaking, and the Nationals execute the double steal. And they now add on a run here at the top of a sloppy inning for the Phillies. It's now the Nationals 4, the Phillies 1.
And welcome to Nats Chat, along with MASNsports.com Nationals insider Mark Zuckerman, who was at Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia. I'm Al Galdi, host of the Al Galdi podcast. We now are about a fifth of the way into the Nationals 2025 regular season. 14-18 is the record off a nice win on Thursday evening, a 4-2 win at the Philadelphia Phillies in a game for which Nats manager Davey Martinez was absent. This in order to attend the funeral of his longtime agent. Bench coach Miguel Cairo served as the Nats manager for this game. And the Nats in this game got very good pitching, got some good defense, and got just enough offense to avoid the sweep. This installment of Nats Chat brought to us by the great Mason Kalfas, the top legal recruiter in Washington, D.C. Mason has been with us since our first season. You can reach him at 202-486-3535. You can reach us on X at Nats_chat. You can find us on Blue Sky at Nats Chat Podcast. You can email the show, natschatpodcast@gmail.com, including if you would like to sponsor the program, hit up the man who runs the show, Tim Shovers, that email address again, natschatpodcast@gmail.com. The Nats on Thursday evening scored all four of their runs in the top of the sixth, which included a double steal that featured Luis Garcia Jr. stealing home. The inning also included a three-base error by Phillies first baseman and ex-Nat Bryce Harper. We also on Thursday evening had the best start yet from Brad Lord, who may not be in the Nats rotation for much longer. But Mark, good to see the Nats get this win.
They needed this one, Al. Let's be clear. And good to see it in the way that they got it. To get that sixth inning rally in just a variety of ways that they scored the runs. There was the traditional way with the, extra base hits. There was some unconventional ways with the double steal, like you said. So to get that, to get a good start out of Brad Lord against that lineup, very impressive. And most importantly, to get four scoreless from the bullpen on a day when they made a bullpen move, although it was not available to them yet for this one. That was a morale booster, I think, for a team that needed one. It certainly didn't want to leave here getting swept. They come out of here. Obviously, they wanted to win 2 out of 3, but you won this one. You were in prime position to win the other one with the big comeback on Tuesday night. I think they can come out of here at least, feeling decent about themselves now.
Yes, we do have a Nats bullpen move, an actual real-life bullpen move to be getting to coming up in just a bit. Offensively speaking, in this game, the Nats did not homer for a second consecutive game. Only had 6 hits, which were 2 doubles and 4 singles, but the Nats worked 4 walks, went 2 for 8 with runners in scoring position. I was very happy to see Luis Garcia Jr. have a good game. He needs this. The Nats need to get him going. Garcia on Thursday evening as the Nats starting second baseman and number 5 batter, 2 for 4 with a double and an RBI single, and 2 for 2 on stolen bases. He and that Nats 4-run 6 had a one-out opposite field RBI single to left field on a 1-2 pitch for a 3-1 Nats lead, and he had a steal of second base, and he had a steal of home on a double steal with Dylan Cruz, and Garcia in the top of the 8th, a one-out first pitch double to the right center field gap off Phillies reliever and ex-Nat Joe Ross. Garcia for this regular season, OPS of just .673. He was so good for the Nats last season. Clearly, you want him to be better here this season, but an impactful game on Thursday evening, and specific to the double steal, a Miguel Cairo call. Is it safe to say that?
He called it in the moment, yes, but when I asked him about the call after the game, he said that's a play that Davey Martinez loves, that they work on in spring training, the old first and third double steal. He wouldn't say it, but I've got to believe they don't try that against JT Realmuto. They get a rare chance to face the Phillies' backup catcher, Rafael Marchand. I wonder if that had something to do with it, but they pulled it off perfectly with Dylan Cruz taking off from first and then pausing, trying to get himself in the rundown. And I don't know if the catcher out of the corner of his eye, whatever, saw that bad throw, gets away, and now Garcia scores and Cruz ends up at second base. In that inning, Luis Garcia, RBI single, steals second, takes third on the pass ball, and then steals home. Great stuff from him, from a guy who, yes, he has struggled offensively, and we probably haven't pointed out quite enough how much he has struggled so far, given the struggles of others. But he has, for the last 2 years, I think this has been an underrated part of his game. He's been a very good base runner. He's not the fastest guy at all on the team, but he gets really good jumps. He gets good reads. His percentage on stolen bases is one of the best on the team. I want to give him some credit for that. And he helped make that run possible in a variety of ways.
He has such a sweet swing, too. And when he's going well, you see him have these beautiful hits. I mean, the hits on Thursday evening, opposite field, ribby single, that double to the right center field gap, like that to me was 2024 Luis Garcia Jr. And it would be so good if the Nats could get that guy back here. And maybe what happened on Thursday evening is a sign that that guy is coming back, because what we saw last season was someone who could be a mainstay for the Nats at second base for years to come. We really have not seen that guy so far this season.
No, we haven't. As I said, we've kind of glossed over it, maybe because of things like Josh Bell's struggles, Dylan Cruz's struggles, but they need Luis Garcia to be a big part of this, of course. And what I liked in those 2 at-bats, as you described it, this is the best version of him and what he excels at. Gets an outside pitch and pokes it the other way for the RBI single, then gets a pitch on the inner part of the plate and pulls it to right center for the double. That's when he's going at his best. Is we know he can put the bat on the ball, but can it be a good swing based on where the pitch location is? That's how you do it. Outside, take it the other way. Inside, turn on it and hit it with some authority, and he did that in this game.
Also for the Nats offensively in this game, Nathaniel Lowe, another key hit. He is the Nats starting first baseman and number 3 batter, 1 for 5 with an RBI single. He and that Nats 4-run 6 had a one-out RBI single into right field to tie the game at 1, despite having been down at 1.12. The 4-run 6 was really interesting. The Nats surely did some good things, but man, the Phillies were a mess in that inning. Yet all kinds of things going on in terms of, like we said, the Luis Garcia Jr. Steal of home. You had a pass ball in that inning. You had that aforementioned 3-base error by Bryce Harper. Keibert Ruiz, you know, you could argue, I know you made the case on X, give him a triple. Instead, it goes down as an error on Harper. Harper did butcher that ball, so I wasn't too upset about that. But whatever the case, the Phillies definitely contributed to this. But all 4 of the Nats' runs coming in that inning.
Yeah, I would like to see that one again. I never got a good look at a replay on it here in the press box. It wasn't absolutely scalded. I think it was like 93 miles an hour off the bat, but it wasn't nothing. Harper's playing in. It gets through him. I just feel for Keibert Ruiz. When else in his career is he going to get a shot at not just a triple, but like a stand-up triple? That would have been a big deal for him to get that. I feel bad for him. I think the Nats will at least look at that and potentially request a review of it. There is a process that allows sometimes for scoring changes. There's a committee of MLB that reviews plays like that and can change it. It could take a week or two before that comes out. Maybe we'll find out well after the fact that he was credited with the triple. But whether or not he was, it's still a big moment and a big hit, and I'm going to call it a hit for him in that spot to keep that rally going. And the sight of Keibert Ruiz and Nathaniel Lowe each going 270 feet around the bases simultaneously was one for the ages, because there's some chugging going on between those two guys around the bases.
Yeah, what were the StatCast sprint speeds on those? You know what's so interesting about triples is that, of course, a triple is the second best outcome you can have, right? Home run would be number one. The overwhelming majority of triples, it seems, are a function of defensive miscues, right? So like high fly ball deep in the outfield, outfielder misjudges the ball or makes an attempt at a diving catch, doesn't catch the ball, and the batter gets a triple. You know, in this case, if it ends up being a triple, it's at least in part because Bryce Harper screwed things up defensively. It's just funny in that way that so many triples are the results of not necessarily great hits, but defenses just not coming through. You know, if you watch games, like you see that time and time again. I feel like the majority of doubles are actually more impressive than the majority of triples.
Yeah, it's fair to say. Triples are fluky. Something has to go out of the ordinary typically for it to work, whether it's a carom off the wall or, like you said, the defensive player having some trouble with it, but not necessarily committing the error. There are a handful of players, really fast players, who can turn a conventional double into a triple with their speed, and it doesn't require those other things to happen. But for a Keibert Ruiz, for a Nathaniel Lowe, for plenty of other guys, it does require something out of the ordinary happening to make it possible. But it's still one of the most exciting plays in baseball. I love seeing a triple, especially when there's a close bang-bang play at third as they try to slide in.
Beyond the 4-run six, there really was not a ton to this game offensively for the Nats. So C.J. Abrams as the Nats starting shortstop and number one batter, 1 for 4 with a double and a hit by pitch. James Wood as the Nats starting left fielder and number 2 batter, 1 for 4 with a single and a walk. Hey, are you a law firm partner or associate looking to transition to a new firm because of compensation, or your firm recently committed to $100 million in pro bono work that you disagree with? Or maybe your firm is employing people like Jurickson Profar while your competitor firms are using torpedo bats and smoking the competition. If this sounds like you should explore the lateral market and give Mason Kalfas a call. Mason is the top legal recruiter in the Washington, D.C. area. He has been a Nats Chat podcast advertiser since the beginning of our show. Mason will work with you to create a marketing and business plan to pitch to new firms and dramatically increase your compensation and or day-to-day happiness in your new job. Mason has placed partners and associates in just about every large law firm in D.C. and New York, and he can provide plenty of testimonials from candidates he has placed on the outstanding service that they received. You need a strong advocate in your corner to find the best law firm out there for your future career. Call Mason Kalfas today, 202-486-3535.
Rojas leads at third. They don't care at all about him. Here's the set. And the pitch on the way. Swinging a line drive center field. Jacob Young moves in. He's there waiting. He makes the catch. The ball game is over. Brad Lord has his first major league win. Kyle Finnegan has his 10th save. And the Nationals salvage the series finale here at Citizens Bank Park, 4-2.
You know, it was big. You know, Ferrer came throwing strikes. Lord threw really well. You know, Lopez gets some big outs. And, you know, Finnegan, you know, make good pitches.
The Nats starting pitcher in this 4-2 win at the Phillies on Thursday evening was Brad Lord, who, of course, is in the Nats rotation due to Michael Soroka being on the 15-day injured list due to a right arm bicep strain. Soroka is in the midst of a minor league rehab assignment. Lord may not be long for the Nats rotation, but Lord on Thursday evening had what was, to me, the best of his 5 starts so far. He officially allowed 2 runs in 5 innings, and one of the runs scored with Jose A. Ferrer pitching. Lord gave up 6 hits, which were a double and 5 singles. He had 4 strikeouts versus 1 walk. He threw a ton of strikes, 69 pitches, 47 strikes versus just 22 balls. We talked about this a bit after Lord's last outing. It's kind of a shame here as he's making this progress. And like I said, he had on Thursday evening what I thought was his best start so far. it feels like he's about to be removed from the Nats rotation. It feels like Soroka's getting awfully close to coming back here.
Yeah, so Soroka's going to pitch Friday in Rochester. It'll be his third rehab start. And the idea there is, try to get him beyond 5 innings, try to get him closer to the 90 pitch mark, just so that when he does come back, he can provide some length. It felt like this was sort of Lord's last chance to make the statement for himself and say, hold on a second, you don't have to just give Soroka my spot. And he did everything in his power, I think, to try to at least make them consider something else. I don't know for sure what that something else would be. The efficiency was remarkable. He gets through 4 scoreless on 41 pitches. That is phenomenally good. And because of that, he had the ability to go deeper in a game than he has so far. He had not even completed 5 innings yet in his 5 starts, and now he gets the chance to actually take the mound for the 6th. Now, you're kind of flirting with disaster there, letting him take the mound in the 6th against the heart of the Phillies lineup, but they had just taken the lead. It's 4-1. Cairo figures, let's give him a shot here, understanding that the moment he gets into trouble, that's going to be it, and that's exactly what happened. But all things considered, really well done by him against a tough lineup. He ends up getting his first career win, and I know you and I don't make a big deal out of wins. It's a big deal for a pitcher to get his first career win. They celebrated in the clubhouse, got a little beer shower for it. That's something he's always going to remember. I don't know what happens next from here. I am very interested to see, because I think there are valid arguments in a lot of different ways of how they could approach this. I understand the idea of saying, hey, Soroka, they spent money on him this winter. He had a good spring. He got hurt in his first start. Put him back in there and let him, do what he's supposed to do. So I get that. I also get the idea of saying Brad Lord could be a big part of the future. Why not keep him there? He has earned the right, I think, to keep starting. And now that he's starting to build his arm up and maybe be able to go deeper in games, that's more valuable to you there. I can also understand, given the struggles of the bullpen, to say this guy could be more valuable for you there. You need the help more in the bullpen than as a number 5 starter. So I could see that argument. And then I could see the argument that says send him back to AAA, let him work as a starter, knowing you're going to call on him again. I really don't know how they're going to do this. Let's see what Soroka does on Friday. Let's see what Trevor Williams does. Let's see what else happens the next few days. And there's a fairly complicated decision, I think, here to make sometime in the next week.
Well, you've done all this work with Brad Lord. You've been building him up. He's demonstrating progress. To just pull the plug now, it just would feel like such a waste, right? Like you're on what feels like a nice path here with the guy. You want to keep that going in some way. It's tempting to me if you're not going to keep him in the rotation, because I understand the thing with Soroka. He's barely pitched. You did spend decent money on him. They believe in him. I mean, having spent that money, that tells you they believe in him, even though, you look at his season last year, I have questions, but they believe in him. So at least give him the shot. I almost would say send Lord to AAA just so he can keep starting. If you say put him in the bullpen, well, yes, he could help. That's true. But you don't know when he's going to pitch. And it feels like that might stunt his development. It almost would be easier if Lord was struggling. Then you could say, okay, we can't wait till Soroka's back. Lord's making this a complicated subject.
Yeah, exactly. And this start, I think, was the best example of it. If he had gone out there and hadn't made it through, say, the 4th inning and got hit around at all by this lineup, you'd say, all right, well, he's done an admirable job under the circumstances, but he needs some more work. Let's get him into a good 5-day routine. And now you're kind of left trying to figure out what to do. I know I've heard it from people, and I think there's a valid question to ask there about Trevor Williams, who hasn't been bad. His last start wasn't so great. We've kind of known all along that he maybe profiles better as a swingman. But again, they did spend some money on him. He's kind of a trusted veteran on this staff. Would you do that to him this early in the year and move him to the bullpen? I don't know that there's a right answer to all this, but I think it's a complicated move. And as you said, with Lord, especially with young pitchers, it's so important to find a routine and something that works and let them stick with it. And I agree, you put him back in the bullpen, maybe it helps you out, but does he get the amount of work that he needs and the consistency of work that he needs? It's a tricky question. I'm not really sure what to do there.
It's a good test, too, of how the Nats truly view themselves right now. We've talked about some of the mixed messaging in terms of, are you still rebuilding? Is it more now, win now? I think what they do with Lord will be telling. If this is still rebuild territory, you keep Lord in the rotation because he's a young developing pitcher. You want to keep this thing going. If it is more about wins and losses and you believe in Soroka, then I think you're more apt to have Soroka in the rotation and you do whatever you do with Lord. So I think this will be an interesting test of how the Nats internally truly view where they are in this process. The Nats bullpen in this 4-2 win at the Phillies on Thursday evening. 3 Nats relievers officially combined for 4 scoreless innings. Jose Ferrer, he officially tossed 2 scoreless innings with 3 strikeouts. He, in the bottom of the 6th, did give up a one-out RBI infield single by Nick Castellanos to cut the Nats' lead to 4-2. Jorge Lopez tossed a scoreless bottom of the 8th in facing the heart of the Phillies lineup. Gave up a leadoff single by ex-Nat Trey Turner to shallow left center. Issued a one-out walk of ex-Nat Kyle Schwarber, but Lopez induced a 5-4-3 double play off the bat of Nick Castellanos to end the inning. And Kyle Finnegan tossed a scoreless bottom of the 9th for the save, despite giving up a 2-out first pitch triple by Johan Rojas on a chopper into left field. Rojas took some chance in going for that triple. He was nearly tagged out. The play was reviewed. Ultimately, the triple stood. It was very close, though. Jose Tena did a great job of keeping the tag on Rojas, who may have come off the third base bag. Anyway, Finnegan gave up the triple, but ultimately got the save.
Yeah, first of all, that was an incredibly careless play by Johan Rojas. If you're the tying run, yes, you go for it. He's not the tying run. His run is meaningless in the grand scheme of things. The guy behind him is going to have to score. If he ends the game there trying to stretch that into a triple in this town in Philly, oh my God, I would love to hear talk radio the next morning about that. But good stuff from the bullpen across the board. Let's go backwards. With Finnegan, I know he gives that up, the triple, but to get the first 2 guys out, setting a much better tone, I think, for the inning was important for him. And knowing that he's got the bottom of the lineup, get it over with before they turn the lineup over, and you got to start thinking about Turner and Harper and Schwarber. So good on him for that one and bouncing back from a couple of back-to-back blown saves. Lopez ends up facing the meat of the order in the 8th. It ties in with the earlier move. You know, they only had 1 lefty in this game in Jose Ferrer because Colin Poche was designated for assignment. Now, I don't know if they would have used Poche against those guys, but in using Ferrer in the 6th, Miguel Cairo is essentially saying somebody else is going to have to face those big lefties, Harper and Schwarber, later on in the game. That somebody was Jorge Lopez, and he did a good job. Yes, he maybe pitched around Schwarber somewhat, but got the huge double play. That's a confidence boost for him. And Jose Ferrer comes in the 6th, and what Cairo admitted was he felt like that was the game right there.
Here's the 3-2, swing and a miss, and a changeup in the dirt. He struck him out, and the inning is over.
With Schwarber coming up in a tight game, 2 runners already on base, 1 swing can tie the game. He brings in the lefty right there, gets Schwarber, who hit an absolute rocket that went off of Ferrer to the second baseman, Garcia, for the out. The next batter hits another one off of Ferrer that he makes a great play to retrieve the ball, can't then get the out. And you're thinking, oh boy, here we go. This could get ugly here. And he comes up big time with back-to-back strikeouts of Kepler and Bohm, both on changeups. And then comes back and pitches another inning and ends up throwing 30 pitches overall. This was a very good version of Jose Ferrer. They got to find a way to bottle that up and get that more consistently. As we've seen, when he's good, he's really good. When he's not, he's really not good. And they've got to find a way to get that more consistently.
And this, of course, was the Nats' A bullpen, right? Ferrer, Lopez, Finnegan, and you see him put together officially for scoreless innings. What was interesting, too, about Finnegan's inning, a mere 8 pitches. That was a quick bottom of the 9th. He worked very efficiently, even though he did give up that triple. Hey guys, Al Galdi for Window Nation, which has another terrific offer for listeners of the Nats Chat podcast. Now until May 31st, get 60% off and a free entry door with a house of new Window Nation windows. Plus, pay nothing until 2027. Schedule your free estimate at 866-90Nation or visit windownation.com and tell Window Nation that you want the deal that you heard about from Al Galdi on the Nats Chat podcast. Prepare for the summer heat with with energy-efficient windows from Window Nation. Window Nation has some of the best energy-efficient windows out there. Window Nation offers a lifetime warranty on all windows, so you can save long into the future. Hurry. The sale ends on May 31st. Do not miss out on your chance to get 60% off and pay nothing until 2027. Schedule your free estimate right now. 866-90-NATION or windownation.com. That's 866-90-NATION or windownation.com. And tell Window Nation that you want the deal that you heard about from Al Galdi on the Nats Chat podcast.
LinkedIn Jobs is here to help small business owners with that crucial step of making the right hires. LinkedIn makes it easy to post your job for free, share it with your network, and get qualified candidates you can manage all in one place. Here's how it works. Simply post your job, and LinkedIn's new feature can help you write job descriptions and then quickly get your job in front of the right people with deep candidate insights. You can either post your job for free or pay to promote it, and promoted jobs get 3 times more qualified candidates. Find out why more than 2.5 million small businesses use LinkedIn for hiring today. Find your next great hire on LinkedIn. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/natschat. That's linkedin.com/natschat to post your job for free. LinkedIn.com/natschat. Terms and conditions apply.
Called strike 3, his first major league strikeout at Zach Walters. Andrew Chafin in the books as a big leaguer.
And yes, we on Thursday did have notable roster moves for the Nats in terms of the bullpen. One of the amazing things about the Nats bullpen being so bad is that Nats president of baseball operations and general manager Mike Rizzo, since the start of the regular season, had not cut anyone. And really the only roster move of significance had been the placement of Orlando Revolta on the 15-day injured list. Well, finally, someone has been cut. The Nats on Thursday afternoon announced having agreed with lefty reliever Andrew Chafin on a 1-year contract and having designated lefty reliever Colin Poche for assignment, even though, ironically, Poche in the Nats 7-2 loss at the Phillies on Wednesday evening was good. He tossed a perfect bottom of the 7th. But here comes Andrew Chafin, the well-traveled Andrew Chafin, age 35 season. He, over the 2017 through 2024 regular seasons, was number 1 in the majors in appearances by relievers with 500. So at the very least, this guy is experienced. We'll see what he can do for the Nats.
Look, it's a move. I think we had gotten to a point where they had to do something. And we kept saying, well, who's out there? Is there anybody they can pick up? And what you had was Chafin, who didn't make the Tigers out of spring training and goes on a minor league deal to AAA in Toledo. Pitched well there, 17 strikeouts and only 4 walks. And I believe had a May 1st opt-out in his contract. And here we are on May 1st. The Tigers weren't going to call him up. He has the ability to get out of it and immediately signs with the Nationals. So it's a little bit of a risk in that he's, as you said, going into his age 35 season. The last 2 years, not as great. The walk totals have gone up, but he does still have big strikeout numbers. And over the course of his career, pretty good, solid numbers all across the board. Somebody with experience. In the clubhouse, they were kind of bolstered by this news. A few of them have played with him before. They have a sense of what he can be. He is a big personality. He's a big guy. He's got the Hunter Harvey long hair and mustache with a little more girth to his body, kind of a character, but he's been there, done that. And for $1 million, which is what they're going to pay him, I think it's worth the risk. It's the kind of move that they needed to make, I think, at some point. And it does say to me that they are still trying to win here because you're eating, I know it's not much, but you're eating over $1 million to let go of Poche now and spending another $1 million to bring in Chafin.
Well, given the current spending habits of Nats ownership, that is significant, and that does say something. When I saw Andrew Chafin, at least the picture that was put out by the Nats in their press release of these moves, I thought of 2 people. Number 1, he reminds me of Rod Beck in terms of the look. Number 2, if you're familiar with the movie Office Space, Chafin, to me, looks exactly like the character Lawrence in Office Space. That's the next door neighbor, the construction worker, played, by the way, by an actor from this area. This guy, Dietrich Bader, he's from Alexandria, Virginia, but Office Space is an all-time great movie. If you know what I'm talking about, you're getting this. Andrew Chafin is Lawrence in Office Space.
I see that. I had no idea that Diedrich Bader was from the area. He has some good lines in that movie. Unfortunately, they're not lines that we can utter on this podcast. I don't think it's a very quotable movie. I wouldn't put him as my number one character. I think Milton, the great Stephen Root, has to be the number one character in that movie, but that's a good comp for him. I think also Eastbound and Down. What's the pitcher's name in that one? Kind of the long hair, kind of big Fu Manchu mustache. He fits that profile. This is a guy who has some character to him, let's just say. Hopefully that also includes some really good pitching performances.
Well, Office Space, I mean, you have Bill Lumbergh, who is like the boss that everyone on this planet has had at some point. You have the Bobs, who are just the ultimate like corporate, butt kissers. And you have the guy named Michael Bolton who can't stand that he is named Michael Bolton, which is just great. I cannot say enough good things about the movie Office Space.
Yeah, it's a cult classic for sure. And as I said, extremely quotable. And let's just hope that Andrew Chafin and that everybody on this team doesn't have a bad case of the Mondays when they get back to town after this weekend in Cincinnati.
No, let's have some good days here. Maybe Andrew Chafin is the key to turn this thing around. We'll see. So, yeah, next up for the Nats, 3-game series at the Cincinnati Reds. As Bill Belichick once said, we're on to Cincinnati. Game 1 Friday evening at 6:10, Mitchell Parker will be the Nats starting pitcher. Game 2 Saturday evening, 6:40, Trevor Williams will be the Nats starting pitcher. And Game 3 Sunday afternoon at 4:10, Mackenzie Gore will be the Nats starting pitcher. This is a 6-game road trip for the Nats, 1 and 2 so far. Parker and Gore going in this series at the Reds. We'll see what happens with Trevor Williams. And look, Parker's not coming off a great outing, but Parker and Gore clearly have been the Nats' 2 best starting pitchers so far this season, although Jake Irvin has been pretty good too. And so you'd like to think the Nats can come away with a series win here. We'll see. Yeah,
it's always a tough place to play like this one. Ball flies often in Cincinnati. The Reds have been playing well. The weather forecast is not great this weekend. There's some rain in the forecast. There are some weird start times as well. Friday at 6:10. Saturday at 6:40, and the rare Sunday 4:10 p.m. game. Why? Because there's a marathon that morning right there in downtown Cincinnati, the famed Flying Pig Marathon through the streets of downtown Cincinnati, and I guess they need to make sure that clears out before everybody goes to the ballpark. I'll be making the walk from the hotel to the stadium. I will not be participating in the marathon. No, thank you.
That's probably a wise choice on your part. This installment of Nats Chat brought to us by Mason Kalfas, the top legal recruiter in Washington, D.C. Mason has been with us since our first season. You can reach him at 202-486-3535. All Nationals radio highlights on Nats Chat are courtesy of 106.7 The Fan. For Mark Zuckerman, I'm Al Galdi. We thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you next time on the Nats Chat podcast.
Doesn't that chick look like Ann?
Yeah, a little bit.
Hey, she hasn't been over here in a while. You two still going out?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Sometimes I get the feeling like she's cheating on me.
Yeah, I get that feeling too, man.